Anyway, that wraps up the TV side. Moving on to the films. The first film was released online instead of theatrically. That was Black Widow. And Black Widow, up to a point, I really enjoyed it. Then there was a section which I really thought was just undermined the whole film for me. And then one of the characters carried on in a way that I didn't like. So the Red Guardian, after the prison break, they made him very buffoonish. They go to where their fake mom is staying, and she's raising pigs and mentally controlling them with some remote control devices. And that whole farm scene was just a failure at showing a dysfunctional family. These people hadn't seen each other for decades, and their family was real, although it wasn't. That was all just handled really poorly, and not letting us see how awesome the Red Guardian can be, just making him cartoonish, like Mr. Incredible, can't put on his suit because he's gained weight. It just wasn't, it didn't work for me. But other parts of it I really liked, so I thought Black Widow, succeeded, but that section I think was poorly written and didn't serve the characters well. Then Shang-Chi came out. Very good film. I really liked it. The bad guy wasn't really bad. A lot of gray in this characterization, and showing more of this cosmological, technological, mystical, convergence in Marvel was interesting. So Shang-Chi I think was a hit. Eternals, my canon, the canon I follow is the Celestials visited the Earth, a million years ago or so, experimented on proto-humans, and made some divergent groups, the Eternals, the Deviants, and then the baseline group that became modern humanity with the potential for the X gene, which allowed for mutations or development of superpowers. And then the Celestials come back, occasionally to check how their experiments are doing. And this movie just made them androids cleaning up the Celestials' mess, and it just stupid. And then having all these flashbacks covering thousands and thousands of years. There's a romantic pairing that wasn't developed at all, and we're just supposed to trust that they loved each other. Then there was another pairing which wasn't romantic in the script, but the characters, the actors, had so much chemistry that they're the ones who are being shipped as the real couple for the film. So overall, just bad script, poorly plotted. This is let's get the band back together kind of film, but we don't ever see the band together, and we don't see how they fracture, and then we don't really understand what the issue is about getting them back together for whatever threat they're facing. So I think The Eternals was a big misfire. I've watched it a few times just to enjoy the parts I enjoy. It's on Disney Plus. I can skip through the parts I don't like. It looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the way some of the characters' powers are demonstrated is very interesting. But overall, it just doesn't make sense. Like if I were a godlike, omnipotent space race and I'm making some weapons to clean up a mess I made, I would give them all max power. I wouldn't give them all separate individual little powers. Like one person can make illusions. How does that help them win? One person can create technology. How does that clean up the mess of the deviants that the Celestials left behind? This makes more sense if these are, these are members of a race who all have different abilities. But if they're just made as a weapon, there should be more consistency. They should all be able to fly. They should all have eye beams. They should all be able to transmute objects. They should all be able to generate weapons out of nothing, out of their energy, their cosmic power. So overall, The Eternals, just badly written. And I'm hoping that they can retcon this in the future, that this group of Celestials was being brainwashed by Celestials from another Earth. Because there are cases in the comic books where Celestials from another Earth came to our Earth and tried to do things. and the multiverse aspect of it would fit with that. So they can salvage this in a sequel. So fingers crossed. Anyway, Spider-Man No Way Home, stellar, loved it. I think that was probably the best film of this phase. Having Spider-Man from other movie franchises come in and their villains and tying all this together, so all of the Sony films and the 2 iterations of Spider-Man they created happened. All of the Netflix things with Daredevil and that Kingpin, they happened, but those are different Earths. This is all canon, but they're different Earths. And having Andrew Garfield appear and really show what a great actor he is, having Tobey Maguire come in as this older veteran Spider-Man who's just kind of watching and observing because he knows how to do this job. And he doesn't speak a lot. He communicates a lot facially with his eyes. So you've got this young Spider-Man, this older Spider-Man, and this veteran Spider-Man. And one of them is the angry Spider-Man. The other one is the Peter, who's balanced Spider-Man with his home life. Then you've got the young one, who is the Spider-Man we identify with, who's still figuring out who he is. So I think that one really, really delivered, and it makes me want to see an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man film in his Earth. It makes me want to see a retired or older Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, maybe with his daughter, who's in the comic books, Spider-Man's daughter. So, that film succeeded in making me want to see more Spider-Man movies with these other 2 actors. So yeah, very good film, very rewatchable, very good acting. Doctor Strange participating in it was also interesting. Moving on to the next film, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I thought that was very good. Again, showing us other Earths and other versions of our heroes. And, setting up a lot of things for future phases. But overall, a very good film. Probably number 3 of this. I'd say it's tied with Shang-Chi for number 3 of this phase. Spider-Man, I would put as number 1. Thor, Love and Thunder, the next film. I hated it. I'm never going to watch it again. This surfer bro idiot Thor is not the hero that I want. This is not a hero that we should follow. Ad-libbed comedy with no script, hoping that stuff works, having screaming goat memes from a Taylor Swift movie like 10 years ago, Taylor Swift song, and then taking part of it and mixing in these screaming goats. That's an old meme, and this is, present throughout this film. It's just somebody who's not funny, who thinks he's funny. So they should have reined in the director, ironed out the script a bit more. Showing these pantheons of gods really undermined the whole aspect of that part of the Marvel Universe with this film. Which other things like Moon Knight really rose up to a new level. Thor, Love and Thunder pushed it down. And then moving on to the final film of Phase 4, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Very moved by it. I was just engrossed all the way through. Good acting, good, new villainous character of Namor. That's how I have to pronounce his name now, because, the way he said it and the reason he has that name, that's my new canon. Namor. No love. But having to work around the death of Chadwick Boseman and giving him a tribute in this film and moving on, great acting, great script. I can see the compromises and the corner they were painted into because of the death of Chadwick Boseman, but I think they did something amazing with what they had. And yeah, very impressive film. Some of the things they added in to set up future movies and TV shows, I think, you could cut them out. It wouldn't impact this at all. But, yeah, so Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home number 1. And then Doctor Strange and Shang-Chi, juggling that number 3 spot. And then the very compromised Black Widow in number 4. Eternals I'll put in number 5 because Thor Love and Thunder is garbage. They're just garbage. So disappointing. As disappointing for me as Deadpool 2. Not building on what was created before with Thor Ragnarok and then Infinity War and Endgame, and seeing the progression of that Thor. No, this wasn't the Thor we had seen in previous films. This was the Surfer Bro Thor, the ad-libby Thor that Chris Hemsworth made in these online videos. And then the director and Chris ran with it. So disappointing. For the TV side, I don't know. I'll put She-Hulk last and Ms. Marvel second to last. But the rest, I'll put all on a similar plane. They're all great in different ways. WandaVision is great in its way. Maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier is a bit more ordinary, although it does have a lot of things happening character-wise that are impactful. Hawkeye has the most heart and is the most grounded. Moon Knight opens the door to the God side of the Marvel Universe. So I'd say WandaVision, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight are all in the top kind of tier. And Falcon and Winter Soldier is kind of ordinary. Oh, it's great, but I mean, it's story-wise, it's just an ordinary kind of action story. Although it does have some deep themes. Ms. Marvel, it's enjoyable, but it also felt like it ended really suddenly. So I think that takes away from it. And then She-Hulk I'll put last because I think the comedy aspect failed. So there, my second video of the year. I'm just going to ramble about the Marvel Cinematic Universe for 20 minutes. So I guess I'll finish now. Thanks for watching if you watched. I'm sorry if it was boring. Ciao.